In this video, we're going to be talking about the role that the U.S. had as a neutral country, propaganda for the war, what's known as freedom of the seas, the sinking of the Lusitania or the Lusitania, however you want to say it, and the Zimmerman telegram. So make sure you're taking good notes. So when World War I started in 1914, officially the U.S. was a neutral country. They had not declared war on anyone. However, they were trading food, weapons, oil, steel to the Allied powers a lot more than to the Central powers. So if you're looking strictly at who we were supporting, even though it was unofficial, we were supporting the Allied powers. Not only did countries want the support of each other, but countries also wanted the support of their people. And they used propaganda in order to gain support by making their enemies, the Central powers in this case, look like they're savage, like they're animals. So the idea of propaganda to support something or to get a message across, Daddy, what did you do during the Great War? So that a guy doesn't feel like he's letting his kids down by not doing anything, or enlisting today. The idea of Jesus Christ, supporting or guiding the soldiers as they're going off to war. You see the guy with the machine gun in the middle of cherry blossoms. So it's to make the appearance of war seem less brutal and more like a fairy tale or a love story. Now, the U.S. was officially a neutral nation, and if you're neutral, you could trade and do business with either side of the war. However, part of World War I were blockades that Britain had against Germany and Germany had against Britain. So German submarines or U-boats would patrol British waters, and they would basically torpedo anybody that they thought was trading with the enemy. And obviously if you're being torpedoed, then these ships are sinking and people are dying. This photo over here of a ship was torpedoed by the German U-boats and then eventually sinks, but you could tell the damage that it does to a huge ship like this. Here's another picture of a ship that was torpedoed by the German U-boats. This happened to be a hospital ship. So if your men are overseas and they get injured in Germany or in France, they can't go all the way back to Britain, so you would have hospital ships where they would get their treatment there. And this is one of the boats that were torpedoed. So the German U-boats were going crazy. They were going ham, as you guys would say, in terms of just torpedoing anybody that was in British waters. In this political cartoon, you can see how you have a huge American ship, the Lusitania, that says, "Can't you see I'm a blooming Yankee," with the American flag. And then you have the smaller submarine that's saying, who is that? It was the idea the Germans were saying, we don't know who they are. They're a boat there. We don't know if they're neutral. We don't know if they're carrying just regular civilians. We don't know if they're military ships, so we don't know. And this idea of I don't know what's going on and who I'm torpedoing, the Germans sank a passenger ship, the Lusitania, killing 128 Americans. 1,200 people in total died. So this really ticks people off because this ship was not a military ship. It was literally just carrying civilians from the British coast over to the U.S. And this is the front page of the New York Times the next day. Lusitania sunk by a submarine, probably 1,260 dead. Twice torpedoed off the Irish coast, sinks in 15 minutes. So you could just imagine what a torpedo can actually do. The Germans, after the sinking of the Lusitania, claimed that there was military items on there, and that's why they did what they did. But this is actually the list of the things that the Lusitania was carrying, and I know it may be difficult for you to see, but there is nothing of a military nature on here. It was all civilian products. So the Germans really didn't have any reason to torpedo the Lusitania. This very famous painting of the Lusitania going down kind of looks like the Titanic, but it's not. And one more picture of a ship going down. It's supposed to represent the Lusitania, but in this political cartoon, that ship going down is the U.S. patience. So the patience that the Americans are having as a neutral country is gradually decreasing as German warfare with the U-boats continue to increase. U.S. patience starts to slip after the discovery of the Zimmerman telegram. This is really what sparks the U.S. to join the war. So the Zimmerman telegram was a secret message that the United States discovered that was sent from Germany to Mexico. And basically the Germans are telling the Mexicans to attack the U.S. if the U.S. is going to declare war on Germany. So if the U.S. says, yes, we're going to war with Germany, then Mexico should attack the U.S. so that the U.S. is busy fighting Mexico over here and wouldn't necessarily focus too much on what's going on with Germany. Mexico, on the other hand, would gain all the land that it lost to the U.S. during the Mexican-American War. So you're talking about Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, that area over there. The U.S. didn't like being pushed and definitely didn't like that Mexico was trying to bully the U.S., so the U.S. declares war on all of the Central Powers in 1917. This is actually the telegram, and basically it's a series of numbers, and the U.S. was able to decode the actual telegram into saying that, into the Germans saying that Mexico should attack the U.S. because Germany knew that the U.S. was eventually going to get involved. And then this is what the telegram looked like once it was finally decoded, and we're going to look deeper into this tomorrow. So American neutrality, you guys should be able to answer these 5 questions. Even though the U.S. was neutral, what role did they play prior to the official entry? What role did propaganda play? What was the purpose of propaganda? What's the freedom of the seas? The importance of the sinking of the Lusitania, and then finally, what is the Zimmerman telegram and why is it important? So make sure you're able to answer these questions and answer your blog. See you guys tomorrow.